Good afternoon and welcome to this weekly market update brought to you by myself, Andre Agvigertsleer, and with me, Andre Cilliers today. Andre, we start this week off on a little bit of a different tone than we usually start off weeks. We were stable for a while now, but we kick off this week with some tensions and conflict in the Middle East. What is currently happening there in the Middle East?
Richard, yes, thank you very much. What's happening in the Middle East? It's a heck of a war. It started with Israel attacking Iran. Iran, I think, was caught by surprise on the attack because, as most people are aware, there would have been talks on Sunday between America and Iran regarding nuclear and nuclear weapons. So I think Iran was definitely completely off guard, and it was a quick and vicious attack by Israel, wiping out air defense systems and clearing the air for them to literally fly in and out of Iran. I think once again, maybe Israel was a little bit surprised by the attack from Iran so swiftly, and also causing a fair amount of damage and people killed in Israel. So I think also on the Israeli side, they were a bit off guard in the viciousness of the counterattack by Iran. So that just escalated everything. And in the middle, we sit with Donald Trump that's saying that he won peace, saying that he still wants to have the discussions, but the discussions didn't take place on Sunday. Iran pulled out. Trump left Canada a day early from the G7 and warned people on the Trump Truth in Tehran that they must rather vacate the place. So where does this go further is up in the air. I think I can say for fact that neither Israel or Iran is going to be the first part to stop. So as long as the one attacks, the other one will counterattack. It's when the involvement of America starts being pulled in because somewhere a misplaced missile hits a military base of America or something like that, that becomes the absolute unknowns in this whole one. But it's escalating. It's not subsiding at the moment. And the attacks are continuing. It's civilians, it's military, it's oil fields that's being, and all the depots that comes into the space, which has got an impact on the oil markets. We know that immediately after the first attack on Friday, oil jumped. It's now trading around the $75 a barrel. Shipping costs are rising due to the conflict, and it's not over. Now, if your oil market reacts so viciously, and we know that we had for months now seen a decline in our fuel prices. Now, in a very swift move by Israel, they went and wiped out the surplus that we had, or the over recovery of fuel prices versus what the cost of fuel is. And that's wiped out. We're in a deficit now, and chances are that if it continues at this rate and prices stay at the levels where it is, that we will have a substantial increase in our fuel prices, both petrol and diesel, at the end of the month, and that could have an impact on our inflation rate. It will definitely have an impact on our inflation rate. And we know that if those things rise, then together with that, a lot of other products rise because logistic companies need to recover the cost. So that hits the prices of other stuff. So definitely an impact on our inflation. And if we look at our inflation, and you can put up that graph, which is expected tomorrow, it's expected that this round of inflation figures that comes out for May will still be around the 2.8%, which is still relatively low, which immediately, if we mentions that, and you go back a couple of weeks earlier when the interest rate was lowered by Mr. Kganyago, he indicated that there is the possibility of further cuts should inflation remain at the levels that they are. But with the change in situation that happened on Friday, a war that's now raging, another war, I most probably say, that's raging because the other wars are still going on, the impact on oil, the possible impact on inflation, the risk of the war spreading wider with America that could be dragged into this, hopefully not. But with all that up in the air, I don't think that a Mr. Kganyago, who we know is a very, very cautious person, that he would now, in a July meeting, if everything persists as it is at this point in time, would even hint at a lowering of interest rates. So that would already be negative for consumers and so forth. But it would most probably be the right thing to do because of the great uncertainty in terms of geopolitical situations and the uncertainty of where it could head.
And then lastly, we end off with our local currency, which has been trading fairly stable despite all the rising global tensions that we have. What is the outlook for the local currency?
Richard, thank you. I'm just going to say that I'm very cautious. I'm very surprised that the rand, that the dollar, that currencies as such had showed this little impact on what happened over the weekend. I would have thought that it could have a much wider impact, and it didn't. And on Monday, yesterday, when we were on a nice extended break for the weekend, we had seen that the rand had actually regained some of the what it lost on Friday, and trading now around the 1781 levels. Now, I'm cautious because this, to me, and the impact of that war that it can have on the wider tensions in the region makes me worried that we've not seen the full impact and a full blown out impact on currencies as we could have possibly seen. So I'm concerned that, especially if America were to be dragged into the situation, that we could see a further move, a bigger move, and I would not be surprised to see a 1825 and maybe slightly above that. So I'm just going to say that I'm very concerned, surprised about how little impact there was, and concerned that we have not seen the full impact as yet.
Andre, thank you for the update. To everybody out there, enjoy the short week, and we'll speak again next week. Goodbye.